quiet because I do have 3 roommates, and it is 3:09 in the AM. Yeah, I slept all day, Sunday, which was yesterday at this point, so, hashtag no sleep, but hopefully that means I can turn out a great vlog with the help of my old friend, Caffeine. Product placement. Anyway, so I want to tell you guys a story time. Actually, it has a lot to do with, I'm pointing at Andy Warhol. Sorry dude, I was actually trying to point at, forget it. So I was trying to point at my Supernatural poster, but I'm sure you can see that the 3 unbelievably hot guys above me, plus Andy Warhol, Sam, Dean, and Castiel from Supernatural, I am a pretty big fan of Supernatural. Okay, so that's all the background information you need, except for the fact that a few weeks ago, or maybe like a couple weeks, I don't know, sometime in the past, I was, well, I'll start off by saying I'm sure you guys saw the news about the historic floods in South Carolina around, like, October 2015. So, pretty much earlier this month. And, like, my computer moved, so it's like, you're nodding. Well, luckily my house and my family were not affected by that, but my school was pretty effectively underwater. And, my college declared that it was not safe to go to school, which they were pretty right about. So I ended up going to my hometown of Spartanburg there for a while, and I didn't come back down to the beach for school until like a Wednesday, so I had a pretty nice long weekend. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that after that was fall break. And I was just really miffed that even though flood break was pretty long, I still wanted to go home for fall break. Even though our fall break is just like one day, a Friday, it's like 3-day weekend. So I decided to take a Greyhound bus home, which was the first time I had ever been on public transportation, because we don't have very effective public transportation. And yeah, I was like, why not try something new? Okay, so I was on like 2 hours of sleep because I had to fit like 20 hours of work in a couple days, so I was just fried. So I was not prepared for what happened to me. First of all, things started getting weird at the bus station immediately after I arrived there. Of course, there were a very fascinating group of people there, and I wish I had time to tell you about each and every one of them, or that I had time to, like, talk to them, because they were all really interesting. But there was this one guy. He had the saddest eyes that I had ever seen in my whole life. Like, just so barren and sad. And I couldn't help but overhear a very loud conversation, not loud on his part, loud on the other guy's part, between him and some guy who happened to be sitting next to him. And the guy with the sad eyes, he said that his wife and kids had basically, like, left him and he was all alone in the world, and his insomnia, which was so severe, it had just ruined every aspect of his life. So he was going back home to live with his family at age like 46 or something. And he said that although he was 46, he looked like he was in his 70s or something. And, the guy next to him says, "You don't look 46. Yeah, but, you only look to be about 60 or something." And I'm thinking, like, is that supposed to be a compliment? Because, like, that's still significantly older. But anyway, it gets worse. he said that obviously the insomnia is the result of God punishing this man. Now, punishing him for what? I don't know. But the guy managed to get the guy with the sad eyes to tell him that he does not actually believe in God. So, you know, a lot of evangelizing happened, basically saying, you know, God's punishing you, you'll never sleep again unless you repent. And, you know, you never know, maybe this message somehow helped this guy. But I highly doubt it, and I hope this guy's okay. You know, if this guy's out there, I just want to say for the record, I don't think anybody's punishing you for anything. I think life just sucks. Okay, that probably actually doesn't help you. Anyway, I'm at the 6-minute mark, which is like, I thought this story would be shorter. Haven't even gotten to the best part, the supernatural related part, the Andy Warhol part. So, there was this woman that I met. I saw her in the bus station, but we didn't really meet till she sat with me on the bus. And, I heard her speaking a language that I thought, you know, resembled Japanese. It was like, atashi. I heard that phrase, which obviously sounds like the phrase in Japanese that says, my name is. You know, I say obviously, like, everyone knows basic Japanese, right? But anyway, yeah, so I thought it's, you know, it's interesting that this white woman is speaking a language that you don't normally hear white women speak, but I'm like, you know, good for you. And then she starts asking me questions about myself. But before we really get into that, she sees my lanyard. Now, I planned on recording this video when I was actually wearing my lanyard, but if you've ever seen the show Andy Warhol, if you've ever seen the show Supernatural, forget it. If you've ever seen the show Supernatural, then you know that the anti-possession symbol, or the star-like symbol that's supposed to ward off demonic possession, it resembles a pentagram, which is found in witchcraft, Wicca, various forms of the occult. Well, she happened to see that, and, you know, I played it off, you know, she's just looking at me like, you know, just like that horrified expression on her face, and she's like, are you into witchcraft and stuff? You know, but she didn't quite say it like that, it's more like, are you into witchcraft and stuff? You know, I didn't do the eyes the first time, and I'm just kind of like, no, and I'm like, oh, you know, like, you mean my lanyard? Well, no, this is from a TV show. And I guess what I don't realize is that, it's slightly better, because now she knows I'm not a witch. You know, not that I think Wiccan people are bad, but she obviously does, and I had to sit with her for over an hour, so I'm like, you know, so, yeah, now she just thinks I watch satanic TV shows or something, which is just fine. Yeah, she asked me a variety of other things. She asked me if I am remaining sexually pure in my 5-year relationship, to which I say to you guys, no comment, and to her, of course. Anyway, and somehow she got me to tell her about my roommate, my living situation in college. I was tired, so I guess I just had nothing better to do, you know. She said that my friend, who was in a roommate, in a miracle that my campus will witness, my friend in a wheelchair will walk again. In fact, she was talking about Danny, who you just met in my last video. I don't know if you could tell, but there was a wheelchair surrounding her. And the strange thing about hearing that your friend will walk again is knowing that your friend hasn't walked since she was born. So, like, ever. Last time she was walking, she was just kind of like, I guess you could say, like, in the womb. She was sort of, when her mom was walking, but no, never. So hearing that she's gonna walk again is like, awesome. I guess. It was weird. And, like, I said this on Twitter, but I'm like, if my friend wanted a miracle, it wouldn't be like walking. It would be make it so that nobody ever parks in front of a ramp ever again, or like, erase some of the stigma from being disabled or something like that, yeah. So I guess she'll have to get back with God on that one and figure that miracle out, because we need to get a better miracle for her. Like maybe the love life, maybe work on that. Oh, I forgot to tell you the best part. So as soon as I show her the supernatural lanyard, or, as soon as I explain what it is, she starts speaking in tongues. So that thing that's like, atashi, atashi, that thing, that's what starts happening. And I'm like, I guess this is sort of like when someone is singing you happy birthday right in front of you, when someone is speaking in tongues at you. What do you do? I just kind of sat there like, okay, it was the weirdest thing. As she was saying bye, she like hugged me and patted me on the head, just like a puppy, And then she told me this horrifying story too. Like, I just remembered this. I shouldn't have made this video at 3 a.m. But I just remembered she told me this story about how this woman that she mentored, this young woman, and she talked about like her mentees all the time. But this woman was going to college, and she said to this woman, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing it for God? And she's basically kind of convincing this woman, hey, maybe this isn't the right thing for you at the time. And, I hope she was right. I hope that college wasn't right for that woman, because she dropped out shortly after. But the woman on the bus who was talking to me, she was in a master's program. So, I guess she knew what God wanted for her, and it was education, but for other people, no education. It was really, really ironic how she's telling me, education is the devil. Education is the devil trying to distract you from the morals of God, trying to trick you with intelligence and stuff. But meanwhile, she's in a master's program. So I'm like, what? And I told her that I was going to Coastal, which is the name of my school, because we're having this conversation like, hey, what are you doing here at the beach? And it's like, this is what I'm doing. I pointed at Andy again. This is what I'm doing. But she gets this look in her eyes, like, that look. And then she whips out something from her wallet, and she's like, look. And it's her student ID. Because she went there as an undergrad, apparently. And she shows me this ID. She's like, And I'm like, oh, cool, you went there too. Because I love my school. And so when I see that other people go there, I'm just like, but she's like, no, it's not cool. It's scary. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking like, why is that scary? And I guess it's scary because, the world is smaller than you think, or, because God puts people in your path for a reason, or like, not exactly sure what the scary reasoning was, but I'm like, sorry I scared you by going to school. And she keeps talking to me like disparaging education, and I'm just like, you know, I'm kind of too far in debt to quit now, plus there's the whole not really being religious thing, but I had previously, like before this experience, I had never heard or seen anybody speaking in tongues, especially in person. You know, maybe I'd seen it in the documentary Jesus Camp or something like that, but that's literally the only time. So, I can now say that I've seen someone speak in tongues, at me, and, you know, cross it off the bucket list. And I'm sorry that this is a 16-minute long video. If I remember any more stories about my Greyhound bus trip, I will be sure to make another shorter video about those. And if I remember anything else about her, I'll just make a video that's like, wait, I remembered something. My 20-minute story wasn't long enough. But anyway, good night from me and Andy and the boys. Yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far, which I don't blame you if you didn't. But, good night. Love you guys.